All right, welcome to the latest video of Xdefiant. Now, playing the game, or at least playing the game more, I'm actually beginning to like really enjoy it. If once I get past the pretty bad hit registration and the janky controls when it comes to aiming. Now, when I say pretty bad hit registration, is due to the fact that Ubisoft admitted themselves that they are looking into this issue, and it's been revealed that they don't have enough servers to house everyone, or enough servers around the world so people can connect to while still having pretty good like connection to the game. So that's why. So I just happen to be in the region. I'm pretty far from, I'm guessing pretty far from the nearest server to connect to. That's why I have pretty bad hit registration. And it's pretty it's consistently inconsistent when it comes to the hit registration. Like, oh, and then pretty bad damage values. It's rare. It's not every magazine, but once you start shooting an enemy, you're gonna do, I would say, 5 times or near 10 times as less the amount of damage that you would do, and it's for like one bullet. And then more times than that, the bullets won't even register. And if you want to figure out for yourself, literally go into the training arena and then go and shoot at the dummies that's in there. You're gonna see it for yourself. It's very rare, trust me. You're gonna be going for headshots and then you see 3 damage pop up. It's rare. So I wouldn't be alarmed about that issue. I want to address the hierarchy when it comes to weapons in this game. The weapons balance. It's not great. It's not great. LMGs are pretty much dad weapons. You're not you're at the mercy of anybody that's mid or above mid when it comes to gunplay, especially when they're not using heavy weapons such as LMGs like I would do. I prefer using the M249 because I like turning it into the weapon that Bucky had, the Winter Soldier and Infinity War, the one with the magazine sticking out. I like converting the M249 into that, especially playing with it on Modern Warfare 3. But trying to it picking up LMGs forces you into a role of the heavy, walk around slow. You're not gonna really be trying to run and gun with it. You're gonna be wanting to hold down lanes, angles. It's all about positioning when you're using LMGs. That's the best I can describe it to you, viewers. But when it comes to ARs, oh, and hefty, the hefty movement penalty, the hefty movement penalty, especially you're gonna notice it when you swap into your secondaries. Man, they are in a coffin 6 feet under in this game. I would say the only reason you've ever switched to a secondary is because you ran out of ammo, or is because you're in a pinch and you need to swap to your secondary. And even still, you are not going to win that gunfight 9 times out of 10 times out of 10, even, because the damage and the damage fall off in this game is crazy. You can go queue up the shooting range and you can see for yourself the damage cutoff for pistols are just outside of close range, just outside of shotgun range. And then shotguns being memes in this game. I don't know what the developers, I don't know what type of hate boner they got against shotguns in this game. You might as well have not just put them in the game. You could have just gave one shotgun to pump action. Call it a day. I don't see why you bother coding and animating the other 2 shotguns in this game. But it's just, and before I get to them, I just want to say some more about the pistols. They are clean to use, but when it comes to trying to play with them, you're not gonna have a good time. They are weapons I do not recommend you just go around maining. You're gonna have a really tough time, especially when it comes to how janky the game feels, and then coupled with that, the movement tech that people have figured out how to use, where pretty much you're pretty much like jet boosting when you're in midair. Like when you jump in the air and then they just do an advanced warfare style like jetpack boost to a different direction. They stop it. It's like a sharp cut and it looks really goofy and it throws you off, throws the aiming off, and then you're gonna lose. And then people just spamming it. There's no penalty to precision fire when you're spamming it. Nothing like that. It's not hard, especially when you can just use or change the controls of your controller so you can better get to the jump button on controller. Or if you already have a scuff controller or some type of controller that has extra pads on it over, say, a regular controller. But you can always change the inputs. It's that simple. I would suggest just changing whatever your ability is, because you're not really going to mind it that much because there's no real indicator that you have it activated or it's the cooldown is done for it. There's no indicator for it. You just have to look down and you're too busy trying to run and gun and jump and, bunny hop tech around the place and killing people. The ultimates, I'm going to get to that. Let me just say this about the weapons. Back to what I was saying before I just go off on a tangent. But in this game, the hierarchy is ARs, sniper rifles, SMGs. That is it. You're trying to use anything else, don't even bother trying to go for high kill games. Or if you're one of those people like me that have server issues and then really bad hit registration, it's gonna really compound those issues, especially when you're using stuff that's outside of the meta. The meta is those 3 category of weapons. That's it, no in between. I would say that's gonna be cool for some time, but it's like you really want to mix it up. But it's up to you, the viewer. I'm not trying to rat on anybody. Now we're moving on. The bunny hopping. Come on now. Why isn't there any type of penalty when it comes to that type of movement? We can just spam and spam and spam without losing any real momentum. You don't lose momentum. I'm just going to be honest with you. The only good part about it is there's no body damage modifier whatsoever. You get 1 flat damage if you're shooting a person in the foot. That's why the only modifier you have is headshot. So the game heavily incentivizes you go for headshots. Good luck with that if you can't get precision shots because the controls are janky. And the longer I've played the game, the more I've got off into the settings and just played around with the controls. Now let's before I get to the controls, before I get to the settings, I just want to say the major thing I do not like about the weapon stats in the game is that the weapons don't have a range stat, so you can see what ranges each weapon excels at, so you can have more information on how a weapon functions. Why that's not in the game is beyond me. Now, the settings. I got off into the settings and I got to playing around, and I've understood that they really did not properly tune the controls. They didn't properly tune it at all. That's why they just put it on default and just gave it to the players to just figure it out. Now, the most I can tell you, though, the best way I can help the viewers out that may be struggling when it comes to precision aiming. Now, this isn't a definite fix because there's still gonna be some jankiness to it, but it's just to help make it much more consistent than what it is. So you get off in here, you keep that aim assist on for one, because you taking that off, you turning it off, that's gonna be population you when it comes to playing this game, and you do not want that, especially if you want to play crossplay against PC players. However, I do not recommend that. Now, when it comes to aim assist strength and aim assist follow, okay, what I came to the conclusion about these two, think of them as a toxic relationship. Like literally, they don't complement each other. They don't correctly help each other, because aim assist strength, and why they coded it for it to be in the negatives, I would like to put it at 0, But for some reason, putting it at 0 means it's got max strength. And just because you put it down into the negatives, it still has really strong values. I don't know why they coded it like this. But I see keeping it, what I would recommend is you keep it somewhere between -8 and -5. That way you can have a pretty good aim slowdown without it being so strong. And they butt heads. Aim assist follow and aim assist strength butt heads, because when it comes to aim assist follow, think of your enemy as having this invisible barrier that you can see around the enemy. And once you drag your reticle over to the enemy, the reticle hits the barrier. So it's like a wall. And coupled with aim assist strength, it slows it down and it makes it harder to break that barrier. And aim assist strength actually, of course, if you didn't know, it messes with the values that you already have your controls set to. Literally. And it makes trying to like penetrate that barrier hard, like really it harder than usual. So it forces you to put in much more input than you would actually like to do. And then once you break past the barrier, and then like a flip of a switch, it goes back to the settings that you have, the values that you set your controls to, and it makes for a type of aiming whiplash. So it throws you off and it keeps you from trying to be accurate on top of the jankiness. That's why. So these two don't work together and they don't help you. Now, if you ask me, I would love to turn off aim assist follow, but you can't just turn that off. I just recommend you keep that at -10, somewhere between -10 and somewhere between -10 and -8. Those two, because just because I have it on -10, it's still such a big barrier around the enemy. Now, once you have it on -10, I would say it stops just outside of the enemy's shoulders. That's the best way I can give like a visual representation when it comes to this setting. Now, it sucks that you can't just turn this off. I would much rather keep aim assist strength. That's good enough because the slowdown is so strong, even at such low values. I don't know why they have it like that. Now, this just makes aiming and trying to be mobile, have that movement, and being able to be precise way more consistent than having it at default, or having this aim assist follow be any higher than what I would recommend. Now, when it comes to aim response curve, why they have it say reverse S curve? When it comes to standard, it coupled with these two settings can give you really bad aim resist. Take it off standard and put it on reverse S curve. Reverse S curve is basically dynamic from Modern Warfare 3. That's it. And it helps. What am I trying to say? It helps against these two settings right here. These two toxic settings right here. Because it helps with doing, I would say, twitch movements when it comes to aiming. It helps dampen that a bit so you can stay much more consistent. So you can stay much more precise when you're aiming. Now, when it comes to horizontal sensitivity and vertical sensitivity, don't think of them as crazy like values. The reason why I got it like this is because it's basically 6-6 when it comes to like in Modern Warfare 3. So 40-40 would be 4-4. And 70-70 would be 7-7. So keep it like that. Now, here's another one. Controller aim look sensitivity factor. This thing should not be in the game at all. It has to. I just think, me personally, this value has to go completely. This does not help you. And they have it set to, I believe somewhere, I think in like 99 or 98. This just helps. This one works against this setting. Control aim look sensitivity works against response curve, and it only boosts the toxic nature of aim assist strength and aim assist follow. It just makes it worse because once you break through that barrier and you do the max input just to do it, or you do more than you would normally want to, this automatically kicks in once you break through the barrier, and it will cause you to throw your aiming all over the place, especially when a person is doing crazy movement. You want to knock that down from 98 or 99, get it out of the 90s. What I would recommend is that you put this value between 60 and 70. That way you can have a pretty nice aim boost to your aiming sensitivities. I just want to let you know that. When it comes to the scopes, that's up to you. But with the dead zones, I would say, I forget where it was at by default. If it's low, I would say bring it up. Bring it up because it's just gonna further reinforce the two toxic aiming settings. It's just gonna like boost that instead of the ones that help you positively. So bring up the dead zone to at least 20. That way it can help you stay much more precise, and you can have that balance between the twitchy aiming factor, the twitchy aiming, flick shooting that I mostly do, and you only wanted to do micro adjustments so that way you won't have to fly all around the place. They can stay relatively much more on target. Now, when it comes to acceleration speed multiplier, you could just keep that in the 90s if you want to. That's just for looking around instead of just aiming. I don't know what the game is doing, but when it comes to these two sensitivities, horizontal and vertical, this ties into control and aim look sensitivity factor, at least from what I can understand. I just wanted to help you. I just want to help the viewers out just in case they've been having a hard time and just, having a head scratcher when it comes to the controller settings in this game. Now, the factions, what I've actually realized since getting off into the factions tab and reading their abilities, I did not realize the passives was like a little goofy. The passive traits are, I just thought, I look at it as hidden passive traits. I did not know that they had. Now it caused me to just like rethink which operator I'm using. The Echelon, first off, I thought they were good. They really are good. Their passive is you don't show up on the radar no matter what you're doing. So that just completely nullifies using the silencers in the game or the barrel that acts as a silencer. I don't know why they have a barrel to do that, but that's what that is. When it comes to DeadSec, all it is the lethal factory that just constantly makes new lethals for you from Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2. That's all that is. You're just constantly gaining lethals. That's what their passive is. Over in the Libertad, they're just walking mutants. They have the X factor. Because all they do is have endless healing. It doesn't stop. So just think about that when you're seeing just a gang of people having orange health bars. It's because they're working with each other and they're just pretty much a gang squad. I don't know. It just, I can see the combinations. I can see what people can do to just extend their life, especially when the hit registration is pretty bad right now for a lot of people. And I can see why people are using these other operators over Echelon. Yeah, that's okay. You can see through walls, but currently right now with how the game is and the current state of it of things, I'm about to switch over. Phantoms, I did not know they come with toughness from the Call of Duty games back in the day. They come with extra health. Like how was that balanced? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think having one faction just have extra base health. And I know it's about 20, but that 20 is a lot. Coupled with just the problems with the game now, they're just dollar store juggernauts. Come on, they're able to tank sniper shots, so you can't one tap them. I did not realize that unless you get a headshot. Again, headshots is heavily incentivized in this game, and there's nothing wrong with that. Cleaners, people who play cleaners are already being toxic. They're already getting cheap kills when it comes to the incinerator drone. They don't bother to let this incinerator drone play out and leave a wall of fire on the ground. They just choose to want to hit you with it directly because it one taps you. Or maybe it's just anybody that's not a phantom with extra health. It's a one tap. And then they get incendiary rounds. That is powerful. I think that's pretty strong if you combo that with certain weapons in the game, which I'm pretty sure is not hard to find, that can really utilize incendiary rounds. You may kill a cleaner, but that incendiary tick damage on certain weapons will get you. That's a kill. That's still a mob. I don't know. Maybe I just don't care all that much for it being a hero shooter. I would have liked for it to be more, it's like be more so just a shooter, but they went with this and it just feels like they didn't go all the way with it. That's just me. And the ultimates act like what am I trying to say? They act like kill streaks from Wish. Like kill streaks if you ordered it from Wish. The only way you can get it is if you get kills. Which is it sucks because these abilities don't recharge off. The ability recharge does not give you any incentive to play the objective. Nothing like that. No assists, nothing. You have to get a kill yourself in order to get your ultimate to cool down faster. That sucks. I just think that's poor game design. It's just people going around just wanting to get kills, bunny hopping in the middle of the street and just murking people. That's how they're getting their ultimates back faster and are able to pop off once a game. And here my goofy little behind, I'm just trying to play the objective. I'm thinking I'm going to get my cooldown much faster. It doesn't go into your cooldown. Why? You've made a game with nothing but objective focused game modes in mind. Yet your ultimates don't get any reduction when it comes to cooldown when you're playing the objective. Only with straight kills. Why? What was the thought process? Did you not want to commit to you didn't want to commit to a bunch of things, so you just say, yeah, just put a little bit of this, put a little bit of that, a little bit of this, tiny bit of that. All right, we're good. I don't know. I just think a nice change when it comes to how the cooldowns work. That's just me. So that way, if you want to be, so you can be much more incentivized to play the objective to get your cooldowns faster. Yeah, you got Joe Schmo, you got my goofy behind over there playing the objectives, locking in, and I can't get my ultimate back but once a game. That's it, and it's like towards the end because I was so focused on trying to get the dub. But you got, Mr. Bunny Tech Hopper over there doing everything in his power to win each gunfight instead of mostly playing the objective. Or she popping off, constantly getting in more than one ultimate activations. And it's already cheesy as it is. They give you just cheesy kills like Black Ops 4. Also, lastly, me personally, I am not a big fan of, I think, most, if not all of the map layouts or the map design in this game. But it's just something it's something you can look past. But, the more you start to pay attention to the maps, they're really not that great. Like, Arena to me, I think is the worst map in the game. And then I've noticed the enemy spawns are not that great neither, especially when you plan on the map Arena. It's the nerf looking one with the orange and the green, and it's really elevated towards the center of the map. That's just what I've noticed. And when it comes to the objective play, like the game mode domination and occupy, they both have zones that are in pretty bad spots to defend. More often than not, you're going to be standing out in the open like a fish in a barrel to get shot from people in much better cover than you are when you're trying to defend a position like on domination, like on domination, like one of the key points or occupy. When it lands on an area, it's 9 times out of 10 is going to be a bad spot for something to defend. Hot shot is actually pretty fun. It's just cranked for one specific person. Zone control, I think, is really bad. Escort doesn't, well, you already know about Escort. If you like the video, comment down below your thoughts. Leave a like or a dislike. I'm out.